China's authoritative capitalism is changing the dynamic between East and West. Their focus on niche industries is showing the United States better pay attention. In the next 5 minutes, I will show you how the industrial mindset of the East is changing in ways that will put the West to the test. China has shifted its economic strategy to show they don't like capitalism with American characteristics. They see the growth of our economy as tech startups in Silicon Valley and financial initiatives on Wall Street. They've looked at America over the past 20 years and decided, no, we don't want to emulate the US. Instead, Xi Jinping is moving toward the industrialization of Germany. This makes sense. China's authoritative capitalism has been built upon an unparalleled manufacturing sector and relies heavily on a relationship with entrepreneurs that guides corporations to compete on the world stage while still staying beholden to the communist regime. This could never happen here at home. Can you imagine the CEOs and shareholders being told to put aside their profit goals and instead focus on a national agenda created by an authoritarian leaders? It just would never happen. China is drawn to Germany because Germany has a lot of medium to large manufacturing companies that are successful in niche markets. A very well calculated market system has allowed Germany to keep a large manufacturing workforce that is not declining the way the US lost its manufacturing workforce. How has China accomplished this? They are closing off opportunities with high-performing college graduates. Their PhDs, they're telling them to step away from tech startups and instead work in semiconductors or chemical engineering. This makes the West second guess how we use our talent. Meaning, how can we encourage our best and brightest to move away from the endless stream of tech startups and into needed industries that, at first glance, are not so exciting? There was a time back in the 1950s when U.S. manufacturing was at its peak. Many young graduates, they didn't want to go into plastics. That was considered boring work and something left over from their parents' generation. That's how they felt about it. China does not give their graduates the option. And are you like me? When I hear this, I imagine a generation of miserable graduates eager to escape the grip of communist China. That is certainly the case, but listen to what has actually happened. Resilience has outperformed efficiency in China. Here in the United States, we work hard toward high returns on investment. The faster, the better. China, remember, the People's Republic of China has only been in place for 70 years. And in the past 25 years, they have seen immense focus on creating infrastructure and the basics of an industrialized nation. It helped to have an ever-expanding workforce. I'm talking about 1980 until a few years ago. The government needed to employ this growing workforce. Here in the US, we've been taking our workforce out of manufacturing and into the service sector. In China, they were put to build bridges and roads and cities, even if those cities were empty. They were creating the basics of an industrialized civilization. It was quite a gamble, but we can see that the gamble's paid off. The hyper-focus on this German-style manufacturing system led them to create infrastructure because before it was even needed. With the massive success of this system, they can use the infrastructure as an example for their young graduates, an example that motivates them to buy in to the party line. Give up your dreams of being the next startup and instead work for the betterment of the nation. We cannot wrap our heads around this idea, but it is paying off in China. The greatest example of China's build first, then ask questions later is renewable energy, particularly solar. China went all in on solar. They invested heavily and tried to figure out how to make it work. The important part of this experience for this discussion is the ROI. China went in on solar without that American view of ROI, and it paid off. This has been public policy success for them, for their return on investment, right? They declared solar to be a strategic energy industry in 2010, and this resulted in government subsidies for solar offering great incentives for entrepreneurs to jump in. Now in 2023, China controls 80% of the value chain of solar. This is great PR for the Chinese regime and good for consumers as prices have dropped the last decades, but bad for capitalist entrepreneurs. China has many different companies jumping into the solar energy space, and those companies are not making a lot of money. The consumers are happy, and the communist regime can boast success, but those entrepreneurs are certainly frustrated. Don't worry, they won't be frustrated for long. Big changes are coming in the coming years for China's companies to exploit. I started this video with the question of China's manufacturing success. They didn't want to follow the American model and cross their fingers in hopes of entrepreneurs leading to success. Rather, they used instruments of the authoritarian regime to create infrastructure for manufacturing and invest heavily in niche areas like renewable energy. Now, the success of the past decades offers them buy-in potential to convince their shrinking labor force to follow the leadership into new ventures. It's great PR, and they're using it. Where are these new ventures? Many are in countries that offer low-wage labor. Gone are the days of China's never-ending, forever growing workforce of low-wage workers. One of the benefits of their manufacturing success has been the creation of a working class, a managerial class that demands higher wages. Don't get me wrong, China is still the manufacturing giant, but they are moving factories to India, to Vietnam, other Asian countries that host a population eager to work for under $3 an hour. Yeah, under $3 an hour. In my last video, GPX Music Channel wrote, war with China would be bad, but the civil war that will break out in the US once Walmart is out of cheap plastic junk will be even worse. This speaks to the dependence we have on Chinese manufacturing. And if you missed my video on the growth of Chinese factories along our Mexican border, please check out my channel. Just know that, yes, I agree with our deep independence on Chinese manufactured goods, and that is not going to change anytime soon. Hit subscribe, and remember to click the description below to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. Hit subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.